The deadline is Friday, and you could see the government shut down once again because the House of Representatives cannot come to an agreement on budgetary items. This time, it is a crucially important step in limiting the Department of Homeland Security's overreach when it comes to kidnapping and detaining our citizens. You may remember that ahead or before the killing of Alex Preddy, Democrats were soft on allowing the government to shut down again. They had allowed DHS and ICE to be funded the way that the Republicans wanted them to be funded. Yet in the wake of Alex Preddy's death, we've seen a change in the tide from Democratic leadership. Now, Democrats are making new demands to the Republicans at the House to make sure that there are checks and balances on what DHS is doing in our communities. They're asking for things like not allowing their agents to be masked, making sure that there are judicial warrants, not administrative, when they enter private property. They're trying to make sure that the officers display identification and that they don't detain American citizens that are outside of the scope of their enforcement. Remember, ICE is not law enforcement. They are immigration enforcement. They're not there to arrest protesters. They're not there to crack down on crime. They are there to enforce the administration's policies on immigration. And yet, we're hearing that the GOP says this is a non-starter. They're not going to give in to the Democrats' concessions. They're not going to give in to the Democrats' demands, especially the judicial warrant. Let's talk about that for a second, this judicial warrant thing. We hear ICE knocking on doors saying they have a warrant, and they have a piece of paper that is signed, and it details what they are doing in that warrant. However, that warrant is what's called an administrative warrant. It is put out by the Department of Homeland Security. And all it is saying is essentially that the DHS endorses the actions of these ICE officers. Of course they do. They're their bosses. A judicial warrant, on the other hand, requires a judge to look at the facts, to look into the person that ICE is trying to detain and go, do they have a case to detain this person? Does the evidence meet probable cause? Probable cause for their detention. That is a crucial step in how not only ICE, but all of our officers out there, law enforcement included, operate. It is a departure from the stop and frisk type mentality, or the mentality of these ICE officers that they just grab whoever the hell they want just because they look at them different, or because they don't like how they're driving. By having a judicial warrant, they have to have proof. They have to have probable cause. And they have to say, we are going after person X for reason Y. Not a bunch of thugs just running around with guns, pointing them at journalists, shooting legal observers, pulling people over for no reason. The argument against this is that it's going to slow things down. Frankly, that's a good thing, in my opinion. But if the deal that has to be made is, you know what, you're going to have to put up with slowing down your enforcement policies. We don't agree with them, but you said you wanted to take out the worst of the worst, the criminals, the violent criminals. Well, this is how you're going to have to do it. The problem is it doesn't look like any of this is going to go anywhere. So it is up to our leaders to stand up to the thugs running the GOP. Working in the GOP's favor is that pulling back, pulling 700 officers out of Minnesota seems to have calmed things. There are still problems there. We still have great people on the ground there protesting, covering what ICE is doing, but the heat is not on the GOP congressional leaders. They are not feeling the impacts of this. So they're not under as much pressure to make a deal with Democrats. So now is it going to be something that the Democrats step up and actually put their money where their mouth is and say, you know what? Fine. Let's shut down the government. We have seen, though, that despite government shutdowns, despite funding gaps, despite any of this, DHS doesn't stop. And that's where my concern comes. I have a feeling that we're going to make a deal with the GOP somewhere where, you know what, we accept that they don't get judicial warrants, but they've got to be unmasked or whatever. And then I guarantee you, months from now, you're going to still look at the streets of our blue-run cities, especially in the run-up to November, and you're still going to have the intimidation goons out there scaring the absolute hell out of our citizens. All in a ploy, not for immigration. It's a show of force. It's a show of force against the American people so that they are afraid. Look, we saw Donald Trump try this with the National Guard, but the National Guard has training and morals. We may not agree with how they're deployed, but we didn't see this open warfare in our streets. But Donald Trump found a willing lackey in Kristi Noem to put together an undertrained, undereducated, over-testosteroned group of people that are out there to just create terror in our communities. And like I said, that terror is part of the plan, especially going up to November. We've talked about the militarization of our elections, and I guarantee you this is part of it.
Many VPNs claim they don't track you. Only one can prove it, and that's our sponsor, Private Internet Access. Private Internet Access is the only VPN with multiple real-world court cases showing that when law enforcement requests user logs, they don't have them because they don't log anything. Their software is open source. Anyone can inspect the code and confirm that. There's transparency that you do not normally see in the VPN industry. You can use one account on unlimited devices, phone, laptop, tablet, even your router. Works with Netflix and YouTube and streaming services worldwide. It is like a secure tunnel between you and the internet that nobody can see into. I've been using PIA for years. It's one of the few privacy or security tools I truly trust. Get 83% off, just $203 a month, plus 4 extra months free at piavpn.com/Pakman. The link is in the description.